history. It was evoked in apartheid. Since then enough basically means what have we done? So as time evolves, so many other things happen. Post 94, Mandela is out of prison. Rainbow Nation, the Truth and Reconciliation Program, and all of these things that were providing a sense of hope that things were going to change. A lot of the musicians that had fled into exile in London, the Blue Notes, Babu Huma Sigela is out in the United States, Babu Makhathini is in Sweden, Miriam Makeba, everyone is all over. And there are these musicians that remained that we would call the exiles. So the exiles are the musicians that had to suffer the kind of physical brutality. Of course, the exiles were suffering other types of brutality. One of that was challenged quite intensely is the notion of memory. You know, there's a beautiful documentary where Ibrahim and Masegela share this kind of thought that like one of the most difficult things in exile was to go to bed in another country with different sets of realities, different sets of systems, sets of problems, and to sleep and start dreaming in another place, which is home, and then wake up to a different reality. So Debus, or one of these authors, proposes this notion of a dual consciousness, in a sense that on the one hand there is this kind of reality that is projected by the system, but at the same time there's the reality that lives inside of you. And if we think about jazz as a product, of course, if we listen carefully to Coltrane, the later Coltrane, you start hearing two sets of conversations or discourses. When he started incorporating this kind of low range and the high register almost simultaneously. And in theorizing from such sounds, we start thinking about this idea of home and the echo. So if we think about the transatlantic, of course, there was a lot that was lost, you know, and like, how do we bring back the things that have refused? So similarly in South Africa, we're thinking from an echo, where there has been so many catastrophes that have been focused intensely on erasing. So, you know, a lot of authors in Africa write about the erasure, the idea of a colonial library, and what that has to do with how the epistemology and the ways in which we conceive the word have been challenged and made in a particular way that belongs elsewhere. So a lot of the students then started in post-94 to question the notion of curriculum, for instance, because we started realizing that, you know, it's not enough to ban the library or a statue that has a conflicted memory, but the very contents of curriculum are problematic. And of course, the music is a big part of the tool that we've been using to question these notions. And so many people have thought of it as a decolonial project. I have my own problems with that, which of course is not enough to describe all of that. But I do write about it if you want to check it out. But the whole idea of the colonial being what informs the concept of time. So when you're thinking about pre-colonial, post-colonial, colonial, there's a sense in which the colonial becomes this hermeneutic, this way of viewing, and that is problematic. Of course, the music I'm playing tries to address those issues, but towards something deeper though. It's like when so much has been lost, what is it that is left? So the music that I play responds to this echo. What does it mean to sound something from an echo and draw it so close until you create new resonators? So this sound is a sound that proposes that, and of course you're hearing it, but I find it important to give context to sounds. In Africa, in African ancient Africa, like the last song we played is called Abantwana Belanga, which is the sons of Kemet. So if you think about African cosmologies and religious belief systems, there is a sense in which sounds had a function. So for instance, you can't just play a rain song. It's gonna rain, of course. We're not gonna play a rain song. But there's a sense in which over time, as music is becoming commercialized, there's a sense that pulls all of these important components that are signifiers of what constitute the sound in the context of our history. So, yeah, we're trying to respond to all of that.
Bravo, bravo! Merci.
And more, of course.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.